Hello and welcome to Bharat Media. I'm your host, Deepika Zutshi. I have a very, very special guest here with us today. And this special guest is going to educate us and open our eyes to the back end of something that we do routinely every day, but think very little about. So let me give you an example. When we all run our computers and laptops and digital devices and shop on our phones and order cabs and food, we really never stop and think about the digital trail that we leave behind. But today's guest, today we have a very special someone who will explain to us what happens at the back end, and his life's entire work is tracking those very digital breadcrumb trails and making sure that all of us common people and online surfers, we stay safe and we stay secure. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our very special guest, Lt Col Dr. Santosh Khadsare. Namaste, sir. Welcome to the show.
Namaste. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. It's our honor, really. Let me tell the viewers really quickly that Lt Col Dr. Khadsare is currently a vice president at eSec Forte Technologies, and that's a company that provides a slew of cybersecurity solutions. And in our conversation, we will ask him a little bit about those cyber solutions and what they are and what they mean and how they impact us normal people. He is a digital forensics expert and has about 25 years of experience in cybersecurity and related fields. We are so honored to have him here with us, and I'm really looking forward to learning so much today, just as I'm sure all of our viewers are. So let me not waste any time, Lt Col Khadsare, and let me ask you the very first question. Right off the bat, I want to ask you this. In the year 2000, when most of us normal people, were still recovering from Y2K and we're still really learning how to navigate and use the internet for very, very basic purposes. How at that time did you find yourself thinking about cybersecurity and digital forensics and getting involved in that field? What brought you there?
Okay, thanks for the question. Firstly, we can start the conversation by just calling by the first name. So you can call me Santosh, right?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, thanks. So in the year 2000, I was commissioned in the Indian Army as a technical graduate after completing my electronics and telecommunications engineering. And of course, electronics and telecommunication has a flavor of IT. So we are studying information technology, computers, and so on and so forth. So once I landed up there in the army, and since it was a technical arm or technical service as such, I got the opportunity to work on a lot of equipments, lot of projects related to information security. And it was then that I just was reading about something regarding investigations. And I came across a few articles and few organizations which were involved in investigation. I found it very closely related to the field which I was working in. So I thought, why not give it a try? And there were very few people who actually in this field, because computers had come in maybe a decade or plus before that. And
Right.
very few people were even logged on to the internet at that moment of time.
Right.
So, and the crimes which I heard the first time was regarding some viruses spreading on the systems. So I just
Right.
wanted to know how do these viruses spread? Who has spread these viruses? So to do the root cause analysis. Then I interacted with a few global experts in this particular field, and they told me, "Hey, this is one field you should get in." So I communicated with one of expert in Pune, is Rohas Nagpal, and he's there, and he was the first person who told me, "Okay, let's work in this field." And I did a course related to that long back in the year 2000, and since then I've been working in this field, and I'm here as you see me.
Wow, that is fantastic. What an interesting journey, and what an opportune time to enter such a bursting field and a burgeoning field. That was great foresight on your part, I would say. Tell me a little bit about your work as you headed the digital forensics lab with the government of India. Tell us a little bit about the work that you did over there.
Okay. So as I said, my career started in the army in the early days in the army itself. So I
Mhm,
was opportune enough to have worked in with this field when I was in the
mhm,
army. And
mhm,
in the army itself, I got the opportunity to head the Indian Army's digital forensic laboratory or cyber forensics laboratory for a quite
mhm,
considerate time as such. So
mhm,
that was a starting point to do my professional work, that is in the army
mhm,
itself.
mhm,
And after that, even I got opportunity to work in India's topmost forensic laboratory under CERT India, and I
mhm,
was there for around 2.5 years plus. So
mhm,
overall, in around you can say 2 decades of my
mhm,
career within the army,
mhm,
more than 80% of the time I was into investigations, analysis, and also part of CERT India, as I mentioned. So I was
mhm,
able, and I got the opportunity again to
mhm,
work on live cases, to investigate live cases, to
mhm,
work on the global best tools available, to
mhm,
get involved in most complex cases that could ever come to anyone. So
mhm.
I'll say I was lucky, and to get hands-on experience on such kind of environment and such kind of cases, because very few people get such opportunities, and that
True.
actually made me what I am, taught me what I know, and
Mhm.
it also made me disciplined, since being from the army, disciplined and a very thorough professional in this particular field.
Of course, of course. And I am going to, at some point later in our conversation, I would love to ask you if you have, a story or an anecdote. So if you can, think of one that you can share with us a little bit later. But I will ask you that in a little bit. For now, I want to start with a very basic explanation for our layman viewer out there. How would you describe the distinction between digital forensics and cybersecurity? What is that essential difference?
Okay. Cybersecurity is a umbrella, it's an umbrella. When I
Mm-hmm.
say umbrella, there are many, many things which come under that particular umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, umbrella, you have something related to various securing your networks, your devices, your computers, and any digital asset which is held with you. For that,
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing, you're trying to do proper configuration, you're trying to use better endpoint solutions like antiviruses in the
Mm-hmm.
networks, you're trying to put some good defensive solutions so that you're not breached or no
True.
cyber incident happens. So it is
True.
more of a, you can say, protective kind of a defensive kind of a activity which takes place.
Okay.
Whereas investigation or digital forensics is more like a probing after an incident has happened. How
Mm.
did it happen? Who did it? Who's behind that incident? What all was the root cause? How did that particular, you can say, any so-called enemy come into your networks or your device? And what all did he steal? Where did he take it? So it's more of a investigative kind of a, activity. So it
Mm-hmm.
happens when there is a weakness in the cybersecurity, I'll call it. So
Ah,
it is a
got
fallout of
it.
something going wrong,
Mm-hmm.
either the digital assets or by the end user.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually, you can say, the James Bonds of the, you can say, world. Maybe wrong, wrong means no analogy, but we do the analysis and investigation and try to find out what actually happened and how did it happen.
Right, right. And cybercrime has become so prevalent these days that, in my mind, cyber forensics is a very, very critical need of the moment because, right now there are not as many laws, dictating cyber activity, and cyber criminals have kind of a free ride to do whatever they can. Hackers, can get in there. There's malware everywhere. So I can understand how critical cybersecurity is, of course, to begin with, and if that does get breached, then how digital forensics come in. Thank you so much for explaining that in such a basic way for all of us normal people. I really appreciate that. So, Santosh, I actually wanted to also ask you about you recently attended the Future Crime Summit 2024 held in New Delhi. Tell us a little bit about the highlights of that summit for you. What did you see? Were you floored by anything you saw as the future of cybersecurity?
Well, this was a very thought out summit, because everyone speaks of the present, but no one speaks of the future.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'll give you a student. If he's studying in an academic institution, it takes 4 years to 6 years for him to pass out from that institution.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be industry ready after 6 years. So it's better
Right.
he prepares for something which is going to come after 6 years than rather than preparing what is the present day scenario, right?
True.
So
True.
Future Crime Summit dwelled on the particular concept after some years or what in the future, what will be the types of crimes that will be taking place and how they should be handled. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
handled in the terms of cybersecurity, handled in terms of investigations, and from the law point of view and other aspects. So it is
Mm-hmm.
what was more of a futuristic kind of a conference which took place, and of course, me being from the industry,
Mm-hmm.
we were the participator and exhibitor and the speaker as well for that particular conference. So
Mm-hmm.
in all, it was a conference which actually we sat on the drawing board and we tried to analyze what would happen in the future and how we can be future ready for
Uh-huh.
such kind of eventuality if they come. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the way forward. I feel so. Means, you should know what is going to happen in next, rather than what to discussing what happened in the past and how we should cope up with it. So it was
Yeah.
more about that, and the best part is the country's best minds were together, whether they're from academia, whether they were from the law enforcement, whether they were from the judiciaries, whether
Uh-huh.
they were from the industry, all came together and expressed their thoughts and got things together. So it was a win-win situation for everyone, a learning for everyone, including me,
Mm-hmm.
was there. Students participated, industry participated, the law enforcement was there in full swing, the government was there. So it was a quite a learning for me.
Yeah. What's very revealing to me is, very interesting aspect that you said that there was the entire gamut. The students were there, industry participants were there, government participants were there. It just feels like everybody kind of banded together to sit down and think through the future of the industry, which is amazing and very unusual actually for most other industries.
Yes, because most of the conferences they speak about, yeah, they're also very much required because you have to know the technology is happening, you have to know what's happening in and around the world in the cyberspace as such. But
Mhm.
such conferences are concentrated to a particular kind of future crimes. So it was a concentration was towards the future crimes and the investigations that can take place. And being
Mhm.
a forensicator, what we call forensic analyst, for so
Ah.
many years, it was a right conference for us, and we exhibited there. And I know you'll come to the next question of the Atmanirbhar thing, but yeah, we were the prime exhibitors there, and we also shared our products, our thoughts, our equipment, and our what is our thoughts for the future.
Yes, and that is exactly what was going to be my next question is, eSec Forte Technologies actually received an award at the summit also for excellence in indigenous hardware development. Tell us a little bit about, what are some of the products that were exhibited and what was the reason for your company winning this accolade?
Yes. Firstly, I would like to tell you something about eSec Forte. It's an Indian multinational company. It is IT security company. We give 360-degree IT security products, compliances, services, and it has been here for more than 12 years or so, and
Mhm.
really doing well, especially in the space. We develop a lot of Make in India products, cyber security products, as well as we are partners to plethora of OEMs, global OEMs, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
we have been here in this space for a quite long time.
Mhm.
The exhibition point of view, we exhibited our capabilities in digital forensics, what all
Mhm.
we are doing, the vertical which I had as a vice president.
Mhm.
So here we, for the last 2 years after my retirement, we started making Make in India products, and
Mhm.
especially we concentrated in the hardware space,
Mhm.
because what I realized over the years in the service or in the government, the most expensive part or products which were being imported were the hardware products, firstly. And second thing was also that the products which used to get banned or stopped whenever there was something happening across the globe, it was the hardware products, especially, which
Yeah.
are products related to science. So we thought, why not make our own products? It's not that we are the only players who make the product, but we also thought, why not make the products which are related to our field? So we
True.
started launching few products, started with very small, with something called as RF shielded Faraday bags, which is a very RF shield bags which which are used for seizure during the raids and all.
Ah,
After that,
okay.
we launched forensic high-end workstations, which are used for analysis. Now, these are different from the normal computers as such. They have high processing power. They have forensic capabilities, like write blocking capabilities. They have computing power in the sense they have different kinds of processors and different kinds of technology which is used in that. And they are different than computers. So we launched those particular things. Later, we realized why not launch another thing. So, when in the crime scene, you require incident response kits. You go to a crime scene and you require some very specialist equipment. So, we
True.
launched it a few kits. And later, we launched something called as a lab station. Like the whole room of equipment fit into one table desk, right? So, it's just one table which has all the equipment which you initially used to be in one full room as such. So it is a
Oh,
compact
wow.
kind of sophisticated technological, you can say, improvement which was there. Apart from that, there are many other things which we launched, which were kiosk and a mini workstations and such. So in short, we tried to give the law enforcement and the, you can say, the analysts of the country equipment which are cheap, which are readily available, the maintenance free in the sense that you can have maintenance at a very short time if it's locally made. So these all we prepared and we launched, and we were very happy and to surprised that we got such a positive response in the last 1 year, and we were able to get into the market, deploy our equipment, sell our
Right.
equipment, and
Right.
that gave us that was actually a catalyst and enabler for us, and that is what we displayed, and that is the award what we got. It's excellence in hardware, forensic hardware development. So it's
Right.
not one hardware we developed. We developed many hardwares, and they are being now presently used by most of the people, even the industry, the law enforcement, everyone is using it. So that's what we achieved in a very short duration as eSec Forte. And the means the whatever we have done, it's not an individual effort; it's a team effort, it's a
Yeah.
management effort. As you know, it's a lot of R&D goes into it. It's
Sure.
just the
Of
beginning.
course.
I can say it's just the beginning what we have started, and what we aim is that people follow us. Many people start making such products. So there's a, we get things here, and we can also export them as a under the Make in India scheme, Atmanirbhar Bharat scheme, because we
Great.
have to be a global player. Yeah, and we are going to be the global player in the near future. So this is
Right.
just one small straw from our side, or our contribution from our side towards the initiatives launched by the government and many other industries as such.
Yeah, that's wonderful. While you were explaining this to me, I had a couple of questions that came up in my head, and you did mention, this the development of these the hardware is as part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Tell me a little bit about why it is so important to manufacture these within the Atmanirbhar Bharat umbrella. I heard you say one thing that you said, that the servicing of these parts becomes very easy if they are made locally. Tell me a little more about why is that so important to you and your company, the Atmanirbhar Bharat? Plus, also tell me more pros of why law enforcement and other outfits should buy made in India uh, hardware and parts and pieces versus importing it from outside.
Firstly, let me tell you, no product is bad. All products are good. That's why they're in the market, whether it's a global product or a local product.
Like you
But
said,
they
there's
are,
a lot of research and testing that goes
yes.
into everything.
Yes, yes. So
Mhm.
no product is bad, as I said, but there
Mhm.
are few, I'll say, few points which have to be kept in mind. See,
Mhm.
if there are few products which are global, which are brought from global OEMs as such, When they come to India, firstly they turn out to be a bit costly because of the import costs and other costs that's there. Secondly, if there's a malfunctioning of some part, it has to go back, and for replacement, turnaround time is high. It may take a few weeks of time for the turnaround time. So that is not the case if the products are made here. The turnaround time will be in not if not in hours, in few days, within a week. So that the end user is actually, so the availability of that particular equipment is more, the cost is less. Secondly, the expertise gone into that equipment, you have the local skilled manpower to understand and rectify the faults, if any arise in that particular equipment, right? Or software for that matter, also anything what is made locally. And it's high time that what we realized, or I realized also, that we have to trust our own equipment also, right? uh, Even if the equipment is made here or there, so there's some human mind behind that particular thing is making, right? So if you're trusting our equipment, you're trusting our skilled manpower and our brains behind that. And if you know,
True.
India has been the global power in software programming, making softwares. We go outside. We have
It's
made
true.
Silicon Valleys, right?
Uh-huh.
So why not
True.
we are the global player in software now. So let's start with hardware. That's what we thought. But let me tell you again, we still have to go ahead in building PCBs, building processors, the chips and all, which are still we are in the making. It may take some
True.
time. So
True.
that's why in hardware, it may take another few years for us to actually come in a big way. Till then, we still have to rely on global players, and of course, preference should be given to our local players, because we are taking that initiative, and we are there all the time, 24/7, 365, right?
Right. I'm so filled with pride when you say that, Make in India is, it's being actually effectively followed. And there are companies and industries that are actually building quality products under this scheme. So I feel proud as an Indian. And you said, our software capabilities are known all over the world. And now we should be known for our hardware as well. And that just fills me with a lot of pride. And I'm sure that does that for you as well.
Yes, and especially the niche fields, niche fields in cybersecurity. You mentioned about cybersecurity. We are going to be, you can say the nucleus for sending a skilled manpower to the globe, globally, when it comes to cybersecurity. If you see the government's initiatives and all. So even within that, I'll speak for the digital forensics or cyber forensics, what people refer to. So we can be the global player because everyone is starting at the same time. So this is a field where the whole world is starting at the same time. So
True.
there's no, you can say, unevenness, or no one is ahead or behind you. So it's
True.
the time and the best time for us to actually play well at the global level. And forensics is such a field. It is very skilled and very niche. Which is the newest branch of forensic sciences, hardly 35, 40 years old. So
Wow.
that's the beauty of it.
Very new.
And we are there at the right time. Our country is there at the right time. Our industry is there at the right time. And I'm 100% sure that we are going to make a great impact in the near future.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubts about that. I strongly believe in the collective brain power that our country has, and I'm sure we are going to succeed. We are not behind anybody in that sense. I want to ask you about, and you mentioned before, Santosh, the fact that, you work with a lot of law enforcement agencies and they are, I would think, primarily your clients. Is there any other target audience that you cater to with your products aside from the larger chunk of law enforcement?
It's a very good question. I'll tell you why. Because when we say investigation, people think it's only with the law enforcement, right?
Correct.
But that is not the case now. A cyber incidents happen in the industry also, right? Because everyone is IT ready, they have their networks and all. So if any
True.
incident happen in the industry, they call for the experts from the private. So that
True.
is called as a part. We call it the incident response. If a cyber incident happen, an incident response team goes. So that manpower skills tools also is provided by someone. So we are the people who provide that kind of a service, right? Secondly, what people don't understand is that no one is born skilled, right? So the academy has to teach that skill. So
True.
now subjects like cybersecurity forensics are being taught in colleges, universities. So
Mm-hmm.
there also you require the lab infrastructure to teach these people the kind of skill they should be ready when they come into the industry. So
True.
the products, laboratories, and the trainings, capacity building, what we call that, also we give to the academia. We create center of excellences for them so that they can train the students who are industry ready. I told you in the start, they should be
Yeah.
ready for what is going to come when they are that at that particular juncture. So
True.
that is where the industry also requires it, the academia also requires it, the law enforcement also required it, and even the
Mm-hmm.
judiciary and others also require it, because if a case goes to the court, if they don't understand technology and tools how they are working, so the
Uh-huh.
trainings on them. So in short, everyone requires it, maybe in a
True.
small scale or small manner, but it is a requirement of everyone.
Mm-hmm. True, absolutely. And thank you for explaining that, because you don't immediately think of that. Like you said, law enforcement is the first thing that you think of. Also, because, we watch a lot of true crime shows these days, and that's where your head goes first. So, thank you for explaining the background and the actual, real use cases of that. Really appreciate that. Santosh, I'm going to put my consumer hat on for a second, and I'm going to ask you this question. In this new digital ecosystem, which is still, as consumers, fairly new to us, what are some of the services or some of the benefits that we as consumers should expect our companies to offer to us? So, for example, I think a lot about data privacy, for example, and I would really appreciate that companies that I interact with or I'm a consumer of would keep my data private. What are some of the things that I as a consumer should expect a good company to provide for me?
Firstly, they should provide you confidentiality. That is
Mm-hmm.
more important, or data privacy for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Secondly, good service,
Mm-hmm.
good not only service but good product. Firstly, and good service
True.
maintenance. And
True.
in the cyber domain, everything we speak now, and every country speaks about localization. Means all the
Mm-hmm.
data should be within the country itself. We
Mm-hmm.
also are having the privacy laws coming into play,
Right.
so
Mm-hmm.
that is very important, because as an end consumer, some technical consumers or the people who use gadgets,
Mm-hmm.
their requirement may be different. Okay, they want to say retrieve some deleted data. I'll speak of my space. Okay, they want to
Uh-huh.
they need a service of data recovery, or they
Right.
need a service of you can say something related to investigation, or malwares have infected the system,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or the companies, they can offer services
Mm-hmm.
such as the law enforcement require, there's a lot of pendency at the laboratory, so they want someone to fastly investigate the cases, right? So these are the few services which consumers require as such. But
Mm-hmm.
when we see most of the, you can say the citizens as such of the country, what they
Mm-hmm.
require is more than investigation. They require the cyber security or secure cyberspace as such. So
Correct.
how the companies can give them, if they're the products, how secure the products, as you rightly brought out, how
Mm-hmm.
secure the information is, how
Mm-hmm.
is the government putting on policies and frameworks to protect the digital citizens of the
Mm-hmm.
country. So
Mm-hmm.
as I said, it's a huge varied umbrella. And as I say, although I've been in this field for more than 2.5 decades, but I
Mm-hmm.
still don't consider myself as a cybersecurity expert. I'm a digital forensics professional. So that's the difference, because if saying a cybersecurity expert is something different, and saying a digital forensic professional oblique expert is something different, because my field is very niche. It's a
You're
particular
correct.
within
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, but saying that also, we do dwell into cybersecurity, because if you don't
Mm-hmm.
know how attacks happen, you cannot investigate. It's the other way around. If you
True.
don't know how
Yeah,
attacks happen, you cannot investigate it. So we have
that's
to
right.
be in touch, and we have to know the technology, we have to know the crimes, and that's what we do.
That's right, right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I do want to, at this point, ask you, like I had promised all the viewers, if you have a story or an anecdote from your digital forensic investigator days. Tell us a little bit about, is there a story that you remember that you could share with our viewers, which would be a cautionary tale maybe for our viewers to say, okay, we shouldn't do this maybe. Is there an experience that you can share with us, please?
Uh, Let me tell you, I've been in the government for decades, so due to confidentiality, I can't share much of the cases I've gone through because they
Absolutely.
are of different nature as such. But yes,
Uh-huh.
I would like to share one of the case which is nothing not related to the government cases as such.
Sure.
Usually, we install a lot of applications on our mobile, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
you don't know what's happening behind the screen.
True.
So in one of the cases, there was a case which said that there's someone a person has hidden some data, and but no one could find it out. So
Hmm.
what had happened in that case, that there were two applications of the same nature. For example, a calendar app. You use a calendar on a regular basis. So
Right.
while investigation, we found there were two calendar apps installed, but
Hmm.
it doesn't raise any eyebrows. But
Hmm.
as a forensicator, you should realize that every case is different, and you have to be very concentrated on what you're doing. So
Right.
we thought, why is he having a multiple apps for the same task? Now, it is
Hmm.
nothing new. You may have multiple apps for the same task. But while
Hmm.
doing the analysis, we found that that particular second app was basically a vault in which he had hidden a lot of data, videos, and other things, which actually the investigating person or that particular entity or company was looking for. So it was
Right.
like a hidden vault, but it was also working like a calculator app, and we were able to crack that app and get the data and show it, because initially that particular individual had refuted all the charges that he doesn't have anything of that kind. So it's
Right.
interesting that such cases come, and you are day in and day out thinking how this can happen, how this cannot happen. One more case I would like to tell you. Again, it's of a very general nature. So
Hmm.
everyone uses laptops. So one of the laptops was there for investigations, and someone was using it for some other activity. So when
Hmm.
it came, we found that there was no data. The hard disk was totally clean. So it was surprising that how can this hard disk be clean, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
If
Sure.
someone understands technology, it was used for 2 years, but there was no data on it. So how can it be possible? But
Right.
there was no track, and we could not prove it that it was being misused. But
Uh-huh.
what we realized that after we took a different approach, we
Hmm.
got hold of that serial numbers of all the assets connected to the laptop, and then we realized that the hard disk was replaced, but very smartly replaced, because the old operating system was done on the new hard disk, but the smart hard disk was replaced. So that could
Hmm.
only that is the logic is different in every case. You can't be
Uh-huh.
only always technical while solving a case. You have to be logical also. So we
That's true.
once we were able to find out that he had replaced the hard disk, then when we confronted, then he agreed and gave the original hard disk, and we were able to solve that case. So
Wow.
forensics is all about new things, things propping up, and you are finding it's very interesting. So I always
Yeah.
tell my students or my professionals who I trained, passion and patience is very important in my field. If you don't have these two ingredients, it is very difficult to
Yeah.
continue. And one more thing
Yeah.
I always tell, that while forensics, you cannot put man behind the machine. I can tell you that this incident happened from your particular device or laptop or computer or mobile, but I
Right.
can't tell you it was you who did it, because that is
True.
not my. The job is
True.
of the investigating officer or the police. So I do my job. I know I stop where I have to stop, and someone takes over from.
Right, right. How fascinating. I'm so intrigued and fascinated. And, initially when you said it's like almost like a James Bond, now I'm going to think of you as a digital James Bond for sure. And for our viewers, I think it's a very good cautionary tale. When companies ask you for multi-factor authentication, don't be frustrated, don't be upset. Make sure you give it to them so that they can keep you safe online. I think that's a good reason to not get frustrated. Um, I wanted to ask you a little bit about AI and ask you if has your work become simpler or more complicated with the emergence of artificial intelligence?
Well, AI is still in a very nascent stage, right?
Mhm.
And it is being used by various professionals to do a lot of activities. And in fact, it has become a menace in some of the cases where deepfakes come into play and we are asked to investigate.
Mhm.
So AI is a part of a problem also and part of a solution also for me,
Mhm.
right? It's as of now it is more part of a problem because solutions are yet to come, and
Right.
they are on the way, right?
Mhm.
So yes, yeah, it has not made my job simple as such, or my means any of the analyst or forensic professional job simple as such, but it
Mhm.
has made it more difficult. I'll put it that way,
Mhm.
because you don't know what is going to hit you, and it will become very difficult for an analyst to prove a point. For I'll give a simple example in a deep fake kind of a scenario. If there's a video which has been deep faked,
Mhm.
so how do I prove that it is a deep faked video? In that
Mhm.
case, firstly, I would like to have the original video, which will never be available to me because that deep fake video must have hopped 1,000 times before it had come to the end receiver. So it's a reverse investigation as such, if you see.
Yeah, true.
And
Mhm.
plus the the technology means the solutions coming with AI, it will take time. They are being developed. I
Mhm.
do know that. But so
True.
as I said, it is a part of a problem also and part of a solution for me. So
Mhm.
it's how we take it. Any kind of situation, how we take it. So I will take it as a part of a solution, and I will
Mhm.
work on solutions which will help me to
Yeah.
or help the community to find out solution for such kind of crimes happening. So let's say
Mhm.
it's a wait and watch kind of a scenario. We
Uh-huh.
are the waiting. It's like a police and chore, what we call it. So the incident happens, then I come into play. So let's see the
Oh.
crimes are coming now. We'll come into the play and try to solve those kind of scenario. So all the best to us, I can say.
Yes, really good luck with that because then you're true. You were right when you said it's such a nascent entity that you kind of have to wait and watch and see what direction it takes us as an industry and as humanity and how we end up using it for good or evil. um, Santosh, I wanted to ask you something that is a very emotionally charged question, especially, I'm a parent myself, and I feel very strongly about the use of digital devices by kids. What are your thoughts on um, unsupervised kids on the internet? Should there be rules around that? What, as an inside expert, what are your thoughts?
Of course, there should be rules. Without rules, they can't. Things cannot happen, right? And rules should be there, and also you can say the limitations of the students. Parenting has to be there, all said and done.
Mhm.
But the parenting has to change now. What I feel, parenting
Mhm.
has to change in the sense not only the parents, but the schooling has to start early about such kind of things happening.
Mhm.
Initially we used to have you can say some regional subject or some foreign language subject somewhere in 8th 9th grade. But I
True.
feel now computers and cybersecurity should be starting from second or third grade for that matter. So
Mhm.
because the child uses a gadget much as soon as he's born. Even if a mother wants to keep her crying child
Yeah,
quiet, she gives a mobile in the hand and he's quiet after that.
exactly.
But at
Mhm.
that moment, he doesn't understand what he is doing. He's just getting addicted to that. So you can't blame him. But maybe
Mhm.
when he started his schooling, maybe in second, third
Mhm.
grade, he does understand because
Mhm.
all the homework comes on mobiles. The teachers,
Mhm.
the schooling is on mobiles. Everything is
That's
connected.
right.
I
Uh-huh.
feel I'm a firm believer. You cannot avoid technology. You have to embrace technology, but in the secure
Mhm.
form. You
Mhm.
cannot run away from it. For
Mhm.
example, I'll tell you, even if you're an adult and you're not there on a particular platform,
Mhm.
maybe someone is misusing your credential and he's already there on your behalf. So it's
Yeah.
already identity theft which is happening. If you are there, maybe that at least that goes, and you are you're trying
Yeah.
to be a bit secure.
True.
For unsupervised parenting, as you said, somehow the technology has to supervise it, the supervisors has to supervise it, the government has to supervise it, the school
Mhm.
administration has to supervise it, and of course the
Mhm.
parents have to supervise it. You can't have
Mhm.
any unsupervised happening, but
Mhm.
still it will happen. Let me tell you that. Only we can minimize it. That's what
Mhm.
I say.
Mhm. That is a very good point that you raised, that it's kind of the responsibility of the entire village almost to take care of the child in that situation. Like you said, the school, the parents, the government has to put in place some laws. So it's probably, yeah, you're right, a combination of all those things so that our children stay safe on the internet. Um,
Yes.
Great point. Before I let you go, Santosh, and thank you. This has been such an eye-opening conversation, and I knew going in that I was going to learn a lot of new things, and I definitely did. So I'm going to ask you my last question, and then see if you have any other things to add that our viewers can get out of our conversation with you. So my question is that a normal person like me, uses I use my laptop and phone and, digital devices to do some very basic transactions like shopping, banking, ordering food, ordering a cab. What are some safety protocols that I should or any normal person should be following on a very basic level? A lot of people get thrown into banking scams, the phone banking scams, for example. That's very common. I've had family who's fallen for that. Um, Tell me, how, on a very basic level, can all of us normal people who don't understand, deep fakes and scams, and we don't really understand, but we do have our devices in front of us that we know how to use and are very happy to use, how can we stay safe in that environment?
The basic rule is don't trust anyone or anything. If you follow that rule, it actually question everything. In our defense forces, we say ki stop and question everyone. So if you put the same logic to everything you do, like someone sends you something, why will someone else send you a link? Firstly, why will
Right.
someone pay you? There are no free lunches, right?
True.
Why will some bank ask you for some details on a Saturday or Sunday when they are bank holidays? It's a logical reasoning. Then
Mm,
why should you download something which is not of your relevance? For example, some apps on all.
right.
If you start trusting people, but still people are still using to befool the citizens. They use people, process, technology, everything they use. Right.
True.
So still you may get fooled, but it's better. I mean, I don't say you should get fooled, but if you're fooled by something which is very new in nature, then also it's understandable.
True.
If technology has fooled you, but getting
Mhm.
fooled because of some very basic things like downloading an app, clicking a link,
Mm,
sending money, it makes no sense actually. And especially the people, like if you go to if you go to rural India as such, there's only
mhm.
one device among the whole household, right?
True.
Everyone, so my child will use it for chatting or seeing a video, YouTube video. My
Mm,
means if I'm there, I'll use it for banking transactions. My wife may used
mhm,
to see some cooking videos. So one
mhm,
device is used by everyone. In that
mhm.
gambit, you don't know ki if a child has by unknowingly clicked and someone your device is already compromised.
True.
Second thing is that okay, if this happens, so what measures do you have in place? At least some. Tell me, everyone has antivirus on their laptops, but they don't want to have an antivirus on their mobile. I don't understand why. It's a computing device. So if
Mm,
you have to pay or even a free version of antivirus, you should have it. Government is giving a lot of free endpoint solutions, so you should install that.
mm,
And last but not the least, if something happens, report it. Report. There are so many mechanisms to report and retrieve your money, or
mm.
especially when the women and girls are there, they are being stalked online, but they don't
True.
because of reputational loss or something
True.
happening. So
True.
you have to make an ecosystem where, firstly, you don't fall prey to it. Secondly, if it happens, to report it and be brave enough to solve the so that someone else doesn't get befooled or someone doesn't get into the trap. So these are
Right.
basic, and but technology also, the government also has to play important role. Like if there's a say a telecom provider and there are a lot of wrong messages going, so government is now stopping or penalizing the particular telecom provider. Ki, why are you doing to the customer? So it's again, as an
Mhm,
end user, you have to be aware. At least
mhm.
look for the initiatives, the advertisements which come on the TV, and you see ki, how people are being befooled, and
Right.
try to stop yourself. And everyone has to play a role in it.
Mhm,
You cannot only say that it's the government or it's the law enforcement or it's the telecom
mhm.
service provider. You as an individual also have to play an important role. And one more thing, why do you link all your accounts to all your bank accounts to one place? I always tell you only link one account to that particular ID, and rest all money you can keep it in some different account which is not linked to that UPI. So you can do very basic and try to solve your own problem. But if there's a problem, you should call out for help, and if you can help, you should help out someone.
That's some great advice, and I would agree with, like you said initially, if it's too good to be true, it probably is a scam. So don't fall for those scams, and stay aware and stay cautious. And that's scary, but when you said don't trust anybody, it's like, yeah, that's probably true. That's the right thing to the right rule to follow. Santosh, this was an excellent conversation. I had such a good time. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you coming to Bharat Media and talking to us about digital forensics and cybersecurity. And congratulations on eSec Forte Technologies winning the award. I applaud all of your efforts, and good luck on your future work that you will do for us, for the industry, and for the country. Really appreciate that. Did you have any final words that you wanted to share with our viewers today?
Yes, of course, I have. Firstly, you all are doing a wonderful job. This is also awareness what you have carried out. You asked me what should people should do, and you are already doing it. Firstly, secondly, I want to tell students, community, people that this is a field. Digital forensics is the future. You can make it as a career. Please make it as a career, and be rest assured that it will be one of the most prosperous careers you can ever have, not only in the terms of doing well in life, but also contributing towards the society, helping out people, helping out the government, the law enforcement. So I welcome everyone to this particular niche field, and we'll always be there. People like me will always be there to mentor you, to guide you, to take you through, because someone has to follow us, right? And so you are the people. Please come, be frank, learn, and do well for the country. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Same here.
Namaste.
Thank you. Jai Hind.